kind of bands are behind it. But we'll be starting in 1 minute. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to one and all. We'll start in 1 minute. Here's a little bit of music by the Phoenix River Band called Vienna. Really beautiful. Phoenix River Band, no less. Beautiful track, beautiful band. And that's called Vienna. And it's an extraordinary piece of music that they've produced. It's, I think, a stunningly sort of beautiful piece of work. Reminiscent of Reggie, good morning to you over in Texas, Fort Worth.
Good morning.
Do you recognize this band at all, this type of music?
It reminds me of a band, but I can't put my finger on it. The singer sounds a little bit like Bob Dylan, but not necessarily the style of music. What is it that you're thinking of that it reminds you of?
It's two bands. It's Dire Straits on the guitar sort of stuff, and Chris Ray, the Birmingham English guy, Chris Ray. Very similar sound, but we'll play them again at the end, and of course we'll put the link to them. And the reason why we're playing it is the guitarist there is a guy called Robert Craven, who runs GYDA, that's Grow Your Own Digital Agency, and he interviewed me a few weeks ago. And just chatting away, discovered that he's got this fantastic band. They really, really are excellent. Anyways, that's that. We have got a very, very busy day today. And let me just stretch this out 1 minute. There we go. Right. Reggie, I'm just going to adjust this in 1 second. So that's Vienna. We'll come back to that in just a minute. Is it still playing at your end, Reggie?
I can hear it faintly, yeah, like playing on low.
Is it showing at your end or not? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Just bear with me now.
I said Paul has a really knack for meeting musicians. Those of you who follow the show, he seems to always be meeting some new musicians that he's friends with or that he's met somewhere and gets permission to play their music. It's really cool.
It is. Just bear with me now. Oh dear.
Well, while Paul's figuring that out, I'll just mention that next week I'm going to be at a conference called Brand Together for school marketing. And Paul and I were just talking a little bit about brand marketing versus performance marketing. I think that's a big debate on LinkedIn. But for those of you that are listening in, please leave us a comment and tell us where you're listening from. We'd love to hear from you, and we welcome you to the chat. Paul, you going to go over the agenda for us?
Yes, indeed. Thanks for that, Reggie. Yes, we have got welcome everybody to the SOSTAC Plans Chat Club, where we discuss every week AI innovations and ethics in marketing and business. I'm PR Smith, the founder of SOSTAC Planning, and we've got good old Reggie Johnson from as Director of Communications for Student Affairs in UNT Health. Out in Fort Worth, lovely Fort Worth. Reggie, thanks for getting up at this ridiculous hour in the morning for you. It's 1 o'clock lunchtime here. We have a 30-minute chat. We'll be finished by 1:30. So we've got a lot to cover today. We'll be talking about 6 AI shifts that marketers must master, followed by 5 physical AI robotic trends for 2026. Again, that marketers need to be aware of. Followed by 4 AI marketing horror stories. And then I want to ask a question about Meta. Is its AI exploiting you? And then another question about our kids. Are they drowning in an AI tsunami? Now, it's not all bad. We'll finish with some positive stuff from Mo Goddard. We're big fans of Mo, where he's talking about AI isn't the threat. We are the threat, if you like. And then some fun with AI and magical musical mushrooms. Figure that one out. Well, all will be revealed. And finally, we have to have a word about the new New York mayor. He's come out as a gooner, and we'll tell you what a gooner is later on, but he certainly has fixed views about the AI, big tech companies, and so on and so forth. So we thought we'd mention him as well. And of course, we finished with that piece of music again by Vienna, by the Phoenix River Band, a local band here in the UK. Right, so let's get cracking. Did say it'll be a busy session, so here we go. 6 shifts that every marketing leader must master in the age of AI. Now, this is a piece that Ricardo Rocca wrote, and I thought it was very interesting. He was saying these are his top 6. So number 1 is we've got to kind of separate SEO to LLM, large language models optimization. Reggie, you're going to be talking about that next Friday at your conference, aren't you?
That's right. Yeah, you're going to be addressing that.
Yeah, it's hot. It's a hot topic, SEO to LLM optimization. So we've got to get on top of that. We've talked about it before. We'll talk about it again. Number 2 is MarTech stacks to data infrastructure. So moving away from the stacks, which can get kind of out of control, to more data infrastructure and working it backwards from there. Unified customer data is the new personalization engine. Now, everybody's been trying to unify personal data for yonks. It's not easy, particularly if you're an established company. It's easier for a startup to do it. But so MarTech stacks to data infrastructure is number 2. In the big sort of shifts that we're seeing coming through. Number 3 is from moving from compliance to digital trust. Now that means transparency and ethical AI will decide loyalty and will decide if your customers stick with you. I think there's one more piece to add to that, actually. That is no errors. Now, we're going to talk about horrible errors later on that are costing your trust and sales and turnover and damaging the brand. So we'll come back to that. But I would add no errors. So AI is one thing. Ethical use, is important in AI. But you can be very ethical and have errors, and bang, you lose trust. So I'd add no errors in there. So number 4 is funnels to orchestrated journeys, and this is kind of maybe B2B demand gen stuff, shifting to automated intent-driven engagement. And this is very cool. So that's a subtle shift that we need to keep abreast with. And again, all of these things we've talked about before, but we'll talk about in the months to come as well. Number 5 is from clicks to conversions. From clicks to conversations. With the suggestion that 2/3 of buyers will soon interact with brands through generative AI and agents and bots. So that's a big shift. And finally, number 6 is moving from teams to blended workforces. So 3 out of 5 marketing roles will be AI powered by 2028, it is suggested. So the future of marketing belongs to those who don't just adopt AI, but are prepared to redesign their entire operating model around it. But please do remember that human intervention is critical to this. I think that's where a lot of the mistakes have been made. People just kind of said, go for it. AI will do everything. It can't do everything. It needs to be checked. It needs to be cared for. But we will look at a success story, maybe next week, actually, of using AI to negotiate supply contracts in a very dynamic way, which is a nice approach to it, but it's got human sign off for every step of the way. So you need human intervention. Without that, AI, I think, can get into all sorts of bother. So, we'll also look maybe in the weeks to come about SOPs, standard operating procedures, that are AI driven. And there's lots of platforms like Scribe, Moxo, and Dataku that will do that for you just by watching you developing sort of standard procedures. It'll turn it into workflows and so on. So to integrate for you. So there's plenty of people out there that can help us do this stuff. So there's 6 big trends: SEO to LLM, MarTech stacks to data infrastructure, compliance to digital trust, funnels to orchestrated journeys, clicks to conversations, and teams to blended workforces. A lot to do. So we'll keep an eye on those in the weeks to come. But let's just move on to 5 physical AI robotic trends in 2026. Reggie?
Yeah, so Bernard Marr was writing on LinkedIn about this, and he talked about physical AI trends that will become more visible. He specifically mentions what we can expect to see in the next 12 months is more humanoid robots. I guess the non-humanoid robots were more specialized toward a specific role or task. You picture those robots at car factories, the one robot with just an arm to spray paint the car. But he's saying more humanoid robots that are more generalized in their abilities. That's one. And then cobots in the workplace and home, that's short for collaborative robots that share space with humans and work alongside them. And he says they've become more viable for medium and small sized businesses as well. Then there's robo taxis. While the rollout of autonomous vehicles for individual owners has maybe been overly optimistic and has not worked out as well as some people have hoped, there is a space here for companies that can prove that their fleet of taxis, robo taxis, is safe. So he expects this to be an area where maybe before the government allows individual owners to own self-driving vehicles, a company can have a fleet of safe taxis if they can show that they'll be safe,
So,
and maybe
Reggie,
part of everyday life.
sorry, Reggie, you have them in Texas, don't you?
We have them in not where I'm at. I believe that they are in. I know San Francisco. Where are they in Texas? He mentioned.
Phoenix, and Austin.
Yes, Phoenix and Austin. Of course, Austin is where Tesla is located. Yeah, Phoenix, Austin, and I think San Francisco are some of the big areas where they are. Thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me of that. I don't go down to Austin very often. Maybe it's because of all the robo drivers.
Yeah. Well, Beijing, Wuhan, Chongqing in China, Abu Dhabi, the UAE, they're all up and running now, testing these things significantly.
So it's already got a presence. What Bernard Marr is saying is we're going to see them in more places. And will there be like one company that kind of like spreads out, or will there be companies that are more locally based? That'll all be to be determined, but it's interesting to keep an eye on. And will in another year you be, instead of using an Uber, be using a robotaxi? Then number 4, he mentions robots in construction and engineering. How will AI impact the manual trades? I think we've kind of thought of manual work as being safe from AI, but he talks about a new bricklaying robot called Hadrian X, drills and holes to install cabling and plumbing by Baobot MRS15. I mean, these are some actual models that are out there that could be used soon and could be used for surveying, inspecting, demolition. It's things that can reduce the risk of harm to humans, reduce the risk of exposure to hazardous conditions, can potentially take repetitive workloads off of humans, and while cutting the time spent on hazardous tasks, which I think would be a really valuable area for helping work with humans, is when we're saving human lives. So the final one he mentions, then kind of going the opposite direction of that, is warfare. That area is heating up. Now we've seen that the battle in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, has kind of redefined the face of modern conflict, as Bernard Marr says, with drones on the battlefield, to cyber warfare, attacking critical infrastructure, the emergence of battlefield robots and automated weapons, robot dogs used for reconnaissance. The U.S. has been trying to develop automated like machine guns and certain other scaling up of firepower without scaling up manpower. I think China has also revealed some new things, including underwater drones, AI lasers, and robot wolves, which are reportedly capable of hunting and attacking enemy soldiers. The automated machine guns are also supposed to be able to differentiate between like allied and enemy soldiers. And also we have AI piloted drones and uncrewed assault boats. So number of different ways that we could see AI in warfare, which could change the nature of warfare. My question is, will it change the prevalence of it and the incidence of it and the human life toll? But whether, as here's a quote from Bernard Marr that he ends on, whether in factories, on city streets, or even on battlefields, robots and autonomous systems are moving from experimental concepts to everyday reality.
Well, I think it's here. It's not going away at all. In fact, the one that caught my ear there was construction and engineering. I have seen a year ago a bricklaying bot being applauded for being so accurate, and it didn't take any lunch break, any dinner break, no insurance, and all the usual stuff. But what I like about the one that you mentioned is the bricklaying robot is called Hadrian X. And Hadrian means, I presume, after the Roman emperor who built the Hadrian's Wall to separate Scotland from England. And you know the story behind that, Reggie, that, there's several thoughts. One is that the Romans, as they conquered most of Britain, never conquered Ireland, I have to say, and they couldn't handle the Scots. The Celts up there were just too wild. They just couldn't handle these crazy guys. So they said, well, let's build a wall and keep them out, a bit like another politician we know well of. But the other side of the coin is that I'm told that the Roman soldiers couldn't handle the mosquitoes in Scotland because there's a lot of wet water and lochs and lakes and rivers, so you get a lot of mosquitoes there, and they drove them mad. So they said, let's seal off. Well, they couldn't seal it off, but let's just put a barrier down here. We're not going to go. We can't handle it going any further. So it's either the mozzies, the mosquitoes, or the wild Celts that did them in. But moving away from sort of the three-dimensional aspects that you've been talking, physical AI, you've been talking about with robots, physical AI. There's some more developments that I think you mentioned to me about this idea about dreams communication. And this is kind of just very quickly, if you could, because you said this to me before about dreams communication. What's all that about?
Well, so a startup called REM Space claims to have been able to create communication between people while lucid dreaming. That's dreaming while you're aware that you're dreaming. And so they had two subjects that were through AI interpretation of facial muscle signals. They were able to actually communicate one word from one person's dream to another person's dream through a cloud and computing and all that. And that's supposed to be the first case that we've ever had inter-dream communication. Have you seen the movie Inception, Paul?
No, it's on my list because, Inception, I need to see it. Do you recommend it?
Well, I highly do. It's great storytelling, but it involves dream sharing technology. And this, when I saw this, I thought it was like something out of that. So this happened a year ago, but now they're actually selling a mask that's supposed to enhance your lucid dreaming and your sleep. But that's kind of a little bit separated from their dream communication. But they see a future in this for inter-dream communication between dreamers, or interaction
What does
between
that mean?
dreamers.
Inter-dream communication. What does
Well,
it mean?
like if you and your wife are sleeping in bed, maybe if you're both dreaming, like lucid dreaming, aware that you're dreaming, you might be able to communicate with each other in the future. If your mask senses that you're lucid dreaming and she is at the same time, might have a trigger, and you might be able to give a message. That's kind of what they're talking about. Is that could be the beginning of communicating with other people who are dreaming at the same time, which is kind of a fascinating thought. What I said is, how long before they start inserting ads into our dreams?
And then you suddenly wake up and you're starving. You got to go down and call somebody to deliver the food to you or something crazy like that. Well, we'll keep an eye on that one. Thanks for always a colorful insight, Reggie. Very, very good. Well, look, it's Halloween, or it was Halloween last week. I'm going to a Halloween party tomorrow night. I don't know why it's this late after, but we thought this might be an interesting, some horror stories about AI. These are real horror stories about AI. So there's 4 of these stories, and these are picked up by Lisa Cook on LinkedIn. Again, we post links to everything we talk about on prsmith.org/blog. Give me a few hours and they'll be up with links to everything we talk about. But the 4 that Lisa highlighted I thought were very interesting. So it's Google with its AI overviews. Then it's Coca-Cola with its soulless content. Then it's Levi's with lack of authenticity. And then it's DPD and Air Canada with chatbot failures. Now, we've heard about this sort of thing before, but these are horrors. These are nightmares because, as you know, in marketing, we build your brand carefully over the years and spend money doing that. And then separately, you can do your funnel and conversations and conversions and all of that, very separate to building a brand. Now, they should integrate, of course, but you need to spend money and resources on building your brand the whole time as well. And all that hard work can just go like that if we've got someone who's sloppy with their AI. So here's the first example: Google's AI overviews. This is the Eat Rocks incident, the AI hallucinations. I'm sure you've heard of it. So what actually happened was they were kind of looking to give recommendations, including, for recipes and Michelin star advice for cooking a pizza and so on and so forth. Well, the advice that came from the Google AI overview was including ingesting rocks for minerals and using glue on pizza. So not exactly Michelin star.
I think that was to keep the cheese from slipping off the crust, was to use glue, right? Non-toxic glue.
Yeah, that's a relief. So the lesson that we can learn from this is AI must be grounded in fact checks, internal expertise, and aligned to brand truth. Well, I would say, this grounded in fact checks means human intervention. Human intervention has to be part of AI use, in my opinion. So Google have form here. Do you remember this, Reggie? We talked about it actually a couple of years ago when they launched Google's chatbot called Bard, and it actually hallucinated And the video they used to demonstrate the wonders of Bard was shown at the live launch, and it was wrong. It was incorrect. It hallucinated, and it wiped $100 billion off its share value almost instantaneously. So that's Google overviews. Is the first big nightmare horror story. Number two with AI. Number two is Coca-Cola, the soulless content. So this is called AI creativity without soul. Now, this is a really good point. So the Coca-Cola ad, the Christmas ad 2024, AI generated, but it was soulless, and it was criticized for feeling hollow. It had all the colors, all the bells, all the lights, but it was just soulless, and it was a poor substitute for real, heartfelt storytelling. And I'm sure this will change and AI will get better, but that didn't. It damaged the brand in a certain extent because it lacked human emotion. So the lesson here is humans respond to meaning. Therefore, AI alone may generate visuals, but it will struggle with the soul and the essence. Now, having said that, I have seen some videos and ads that are actually pretty darn good, although you can still tell it's AI just by the production values. However, I'm sure this will change in time. But for now, that's our number two. Number three is Levi's lack of authenticity. So back in 2023 again, what actually happened was they were trying to showcase diversity, and the campaign used AI models, beautiful looking AI models, but critics called it inauthentic because you can spot what's a GPT generated model versus a human.
Well, and I think they also said that they'll do anything to avoid hiring a minority model. That they essentially they would have. I guess the idea was they had. It came across like they had white models that they were paying to model it, but then to make it diversified, they would have AI generate minorities, and to a lot of people that came across as though they weren't willing to hire minority models. Now, I don't know what their original workforce was diverse, and they just meant to diversify. They would multiply it with AI models, but it kind of came across with a poor taste in their mouth.
Yeah, again, this lack of kind of integration, passion, soul, feeling, and double checking. I mean, surely the testing would have picked this up. I just wonder, are they skipping testing? Of course, you can use AI to do testing and infinite focus groups and all that sort of thing. But I do wonder what kind of testing they are actually doing on these things. The fourth and final one is DPD and Air Canada chatbot failures. And this is when customer service support becomes a nightmare. What happened was the chatbots ended up swearing at customers, giving false information, and actually it led to a lawsuit. I mean, what a nightmare. You build this thing, you're trying to build your brand, and AI comes in and it chooses, damages the customer relationships. They lose trust and value and perspective. And, remember we talked about this Microsoft bot called Tay back in 2016. So it's nearly 10 years ago, but it converted within 24 hours. People were kind of prompting it and training it to spew Nazi comments, and they had to withdraw it after 24 hours. Or at least they were watching it and controlling it to a certain degree. Reggie, you mentioned a Taco Bell nightmare story as well before to me.
Yeah, so Taco Bell had tried to put some of this AI powered drive-through processes into some of their restaurants, and it kind of became this fad where people were posting comical videos of the tech making mistakes. Like one man who orders, I think, 18,000 waters. It crashed the system. Another person received ice cream with bacon on it. Not that different than, I think there was an incident with McDonald's withdrew its AI when, that might have been the one where there was ice cream with bacon. Taco Bell one was different than that.
Right.
But the thing is, they basically said that they felt like this could be an efficiency thing, but with all the videos going around showing how their AI was messing up and it was getting crashed, I think it kept asking someone ordered a Mountain Dew, and it said, "What would you like to drink with that?" He said, "I'm getting a Mountain Dew. What would you like to drink with that?" That's all I want. What would you like to drink with that? It's like, hey, I'm already getting this. And so it's like basically no contextual awareness, and it really hurts the brand. Although they did say that they had 2 million successfully placed orders.
Yeah. Well, you got to do some work on those percentages that are damaging the brand permanently for that lifetime customer they might have just lost there.
Yeah.
So, still on the frame of AI possibly doing some damage, is this idea of Meta as AI. Will it exploit you? Now, Louisa Jarovsky, whom we like a lot, wrote a piece saying Meta will use your interactions with AI to suggest posts and, wait for it, of course it's coming, personalized ads. So, and it's more manipulative than you think, Lisa says. If you use Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or Meta apps, be aware of this, that um, any of its bots, they are collecting data about you. And Meta's attempt to become a competitive player in the AI race means it's got to have its little bots in there engaging you in conversations, seeming like very friendly and very caring. We've talked about this before. Uh, and that's when you drop your guard and you have a conversation about intimate stuff, and you're letting your really innermost feelings shared with a bot who's collecting the data. So, a teenage girl sharing her insecurities with one of the bots might find that she's going to get ads about how to seduce a man, or the best plastic surgery for teenagers, or how to lose weight, all of this. Now, this has been around for a while, pre-AI, if you like, just signals. So, on social media, if somebody deletes a selfie, we've talked about this before, that could be taken as a trigger to say they've low self-esteem, send them some ads for weight loss or whatever. That's horrible, in my opinion. But here's multiplied by AI, intimate conversations, and they'll know you better than you know yourself, and will be selling you stuff that perhaps you don't need.
Well, and if they'll do that with signals that they could get pre-AI, what's to stop them from using your intimate conversations in order to be even more proactive in some of these harmful, personalized advertising?
Yeah, 100% correct. Yeah, that's where it's going. I mean, I have Alexa here beside me. I've been suggested that its primary purpose is actually collecting data. It's collecting a lot of data. So we'll keep moving on because we've just got about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to mention something about our kids. Are they drowning in an AI tsunami? Now, we've touched upon it there. Matthew Kilkenny said something about this, Reggie, didn't he? Can you just give us a couple of minutes on this? The AI.
I don't recall this being one of my
All
topics.
right, that's okay. Yes. So, well, anyway, this whole concept of the AI tsunami coming at us is that you know we've had suicides. It's awful. We could list out the examples, and we've talked about character AI doing a lot of damage, and games, online game. It seems like everything seems to be rather uncaring, and we will
AI
miss some.
psychosis, AI psychosis too.
Yeah. So all of this is just, I mean, I do worry about kids and grandkids, what they're facing. If there's no regulations, or limited regulations, or by the time people adhere to the regulations, a lot of damage can be done. So that's just a question that I think parents need to keep asking. We bring it up every week, and I'll just mention it again. We'll post this really interesting article by Matthew Kilkenny, actually. Our kids are drowning in the AI tsunami. He's saying that as a statement. I'm asking it as a question. It's worth having a read if you're a parent. Share it because it's powerful stuff. It's important stuff. Okay. Now we're going to finish with a couple of pieces, short pieces here. And this is from Mo Gaudat, who we're big fans of. Mo, ex-Google chief business officer and founder of 1 Billion Happy. So he's trying to create 1 billion people that are happier than they have been previously. And he's a really good guy. I really admire his work to date. So he has said this: every technology reflects the intention of the human who wields it. If used with greed, it divides. If used with compassion, it multiplies good. The future won't be defined by the intelligence of machines, but by the morality of those who teach them. And each of us has a role in shaping that through our choices, our ethics, and our voice. The question is not, will AI replace us, but what kind of humans are we teaching it to become? Now, last week, if you recall, we looked at a rather ugly bot theme that you could play with, and it was shocking and horrible. So, certainly I point the finger at that bot and saying that's disgusting to interact with anybody. But let's finish on 2 positive notes. So, musical mushrooms, where AI helps nature communicate. Now, I wrote this piece on LinkedIn. We put a link to it directly in the notes, which we put on pearsmith.org/blog. And this is about the mushrooms' bioelectrical fluctuations are converted into signals that control the robotic arms that are holding onto a drum kit. So you have to see the video to understand what I'm talking about. But basically, they stick a few bits, sensors into a mushroom. It calculates and reads bioelectrical fluctuations, which then converts them into movements, and then converts it into drum beats. which is quite fascinating to watch. And some of the comments that came in are really quite hilarious. So have a little look at that. We did talk about previously University of Cambridge's Museum of Anthropology, where they succeeded in getting several dead species to converse with both children and adults in text, audio, or multiple languages. And what was really interesting about that, it increased the customer engagement, if you like, and enjoyment of the whole experience. But they then use that data that they collected from those questions to determine what people are really interested in with biodiversity. So that helps them develop their campaign in a more sophisticated
Virtuous cycle of data, as you call it, right?
virtuous cycle of data. That is it, 100%, Reggie. Okay, now we're going to finish. It's 1:30, so we're going to stop with this last piece. We've got a new New York mayor, and he's come out as a gooner. Now, a gooner is a gunner, often known as a gooner in London, and they are Arsenal fans. I was shocked to read that Zoran Mamdani is a lifelong Arsenal fan. Apparently, he got it when he was living in Uganda, but he's got very strong feelings about the big tech companies and about fairness and safety and so on and so forth. So we'll keep an eye on Zoran Mamdani, who is just come out. Well, for a lot of people, he's just come out, but he's not been shy about saying he is a gooner. He's an Arsenal fan, and good luck to him for that. So we congratulate him on his successes during the week. Right, Reggie, time has run away from us yet again. It's 1:30 my time. It's 7:30 your time in the morning. We got to wrap it up. So we're going to play this lovely track again, which is from the Phoenix River Band, and it's called Vienna. And you'll see the likeness with Dire Straits and Chris Rea. It's their own music. It's beautiful stuff. And I'm proud to say that Robert Craven, who runs GYDA, Grow Your Own Digital Agency, he's the guitarist on it. So thank you, Robert. And Reggie, I wish you a great week. Cheers for now.
You too, Paul.
I suppose there's no doubt the world has changed. The light went out. You may forget. Can I recall the writings there still on the wall? Good night, Vienna. When the darkness comes, can't hear your voice at all. Good night, Vienna. Now the days are done, can't hear you when you call. And we walk down Rose.
We'll see you next week, and we post the notes on prsmith.org/blog. Cheers, Reggie. Bye-bye.